Thank you for tuning in to another video. And this is my homemade New York style bagels. These are delicious. So you want to make sure that you try out this recipe. It's really easy and very tasty. And so as you can see, I have some coconut sugar here. I'll only be using about a tablespoon and a half. I have here some bread flour, and I'll be using 3.5 cups. Two teaspoons of active dry yeast, or 1 package of the yeast. Into a stand mixer, I'll put my coconut sugar, as well as my yeast. Instead of doing it in a separate container, I'm just kind of activating my yeast right inside the mixing bowl. Inside the mixing bowl goes 1 cup of water. I put 1 cup of water. And so you see I have a dough hook there, and I'm slowly adding my flour. Now most people wait for the yeast to activate, but you certainly do not have to wait until the yeast activates before you start making your dough. You do run the risk of having dead yeast, and then by that time it's too late because you've already made your dough. But I'm taking my chances here. And so as you can see, I'm slowly adding the flour. It's all incorporated into a nice large ball. It's a little sticky. And here is where I added the 1/2 cup. I'm adding the 1/2 cup. So that's a total of 3.5 cups of bread flour. And so you can see the dough here. It's kind of rough, lumpy, because the gluten hasn't really built up much yet. Everything's just incorporated. So you'll see, as the dough hook needs this a little longer, the dough will be really smooth. None of these huge lumps that you see there. Alright, and I had this on the mixer for about 5 to 8 minutes kneading, and so you can see it's nice and smooth. You see the difference there. So it's ready. Right onto a little surface. You can flour your surface, especially if your dough is really tacky. But I think I'm right on time. I'm just rounding this off. I'm going to cut it into 2 and refrigerate this. I seem to be playing with the dough. I was doing that. Okay, I'm cutting it into 2 now. And half of this recipe is going to be for my bagels. In the other half of this dough, I will show you what I will use it for in another video. Because this dough is very versatile and it is very good. This is one of the best recipes I've used. Alright, so they're nice and little round balls, or nice and round dough balls. So I'm just going to get a container, pop these in, so give them some time to rest in the refrigerator. These I stored maybe for about a half an hour before I used it. I allowed them to rest. So you can see they're nice and cool, and they've proofed up, and so we're ready to go with our bagels. So I'm just weighing out the dough. This is an extra step. You certainly don't have to have a scale or to do this at all. I'm just weighing it out to see how many bagels I want to get out of this piece of dough. I decided on 4, each of them being at about 3 ounces each. So you see here, all I'm doing is rolling out somewhat of a round disc and poking a hole in the middle and rolling my fingers through the middle. There's different ways to do it. I've seen it done different ways, but you find what works for you, and this way was perfect for me. Just stretching out that inside circle there, and they are ready to go. I allowed them to proof for about a half an hour, so they've doubled in size. I have a pot of boiling water. This has a teaspoon of baking soda and a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. And so I have them in the hot water and I'm flipping them. It's about 60 seconds or a minute, close to a minute on each side. And as you can see, you see the scoring at the bottom of the bagels because I was using the rack. You can certainly line your rack with parchment paper. But these bagels are just for me, so I'm not too critical on the lines there. And so these are ready. I pulled them out, and from the steaming water, I put any toppings, just sesame seeds here, and into the oven at 425 degrees for about 6 to 8 minutes, and they're done. Really simple. They smell really, really good. They taste delicious. And thank you for watching. If you try the recipe, take a picture, put it on Instagram, tag me, let me know. I'd love to see. And I will see you next time.